What is good, Chi-Town, and happy good Sunday to you all. We are Windy City Fantasy back at you again. I am your host, Steve. Across from me and crushing me like a grape currently during this week is the wise sage Moose.
I do love wine.
And the man doing a happy dance because Eckler's back this week, Elliot.
I hate Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. It's dynamite.
How's everybody's Thanksgiving?
Beautiful.
No, I wasn't that bad.
I was in turkey coma. Straight turkey coma.
Nice.
I think I had little droplets of cranberry stuck in my beard. It was crusted over. I was asleep.
Man, you know how to turn me on.
Right. Guys, we got a great show for you today. Pay attention during the show. As below, we're going to have the ticker running where it's just going to show you what players are out this week.
Which is like half the NFL, so.
Yeah. But, and then we'll get into news. We'll do some start and sit 'em, and then our claimed locked and loaded today. Make sure if you have any questions, comment on the show today. Don't forget to, if you're new, that you accept the agreement from StreamYard so we can see who you are. And then if you are not a regular follower of our show and would like to know where we could be listened at, Moose, where can they listen us to it?
Anywhere podcast, whatever podcast station you listen to.
Right? Spotify,
iHeart,
Apple. Sweet.
I don't know. Is there another one?
There'll be many more to come.
Anywhere you listen to iPod.
Yeah, and YouTube.
Anywhere you listen to your podcast at iPod.
Exactly.
And then Facebook, we have the page. Follow us on Facebook. And then, send us a message or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning.
All right. So got some breaking news I want to hit with you really quick, guys. And because this has been the weirdest week so far, week 12, this whole week should probably be axed. But we're just going to start with the Steelers-Ravens game pushed all the way to Tuesday. And more positive tests keep coming in on a daily basis that it's now getting uber ridiculous. The newest is Mark Andrews is now out for Tuesday because he is tested positive for COVID. So now that includes Lamar Jackson, Andrews, both Dobbins and Ingram, and vice versa. I'm pretty sure Marquise Hollywood Brown will probably pop up with it. So this is an excellent point to play the Steelers defense if there's still a game. You guys even think there's still going to be a game?
I want to say that there is going to be a game just because it's like the rivalry and like just these two teams are like one of the top teams in the NFL. I think the NFL is going to try to make this possible. But if everybody has COVID and everybody tests positive Tuesday, that's not enough time for an organization.
I mean, James Conner's out.
Like they shut down facilities in Baltimore. Like I think this is going to be one of those games that gets rescheduled to like week 16 or something.
Yeah.
With that being said, go.
No, yeah, I don't. They can't cancel this game because the teams have no buys, and I think somebody's gonna get screwed. I think Pittsburgh might end up getting screwed in this situation because the only thing that they can do, quite possibly, is throw this at the end of the season. So then the Steelers, which only really have the one positive test in Connor, as far as I know of, will get an extra bye, which is cool, but then you're throwing off their momentum, and them being the final unbeaten team in the league. Then they have the Thursday game, so they would the Thursday game they would go back to having the Thursday game as opposed to having that Thursday game rescheduled.
Right.
So now essentially you're like kind of screwing with the schedule of the whole league. It's just the wrong time for this to happen.
Now there was a Steelers trainer who tested positive for COVID, but because of the contact tracing, Big Ben was not affected by it because they thought that he might have been in close contact, but after reviewing their contact tracing, he was nowhere near. So speaking more of across the league with COVID, all the Denver QBs are out.
Cool.
They did not cancel this game because Kendall Hinton and you're probably thinking to yourself, who the hell is this? And should I even pick him up? And unless you're in a super deep league with like 2 QBs and there's nobody else, he was just promoted from the practice squad, drafted as a wide receiver. He has not thrown a pass since 2018 when he played for Wake Forest. So, because the NFL is still keeping this game going, man, the Saints defense looks even sexier now because it all relies on the running game, probably a lot of wildcat formations, right, Moose?
Something. I mean, I don't know. It sucks to be a Denver fan, I guess. It sucks. Like, once again, like, do you start Judy? Do you start Noah Fant this week?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like super scary if you're looking at it.
And then last but not least, the 49ers are going to be looking for new homeboys as their county, I believe it was Kendall County or Santa Clara County, has new COVID restrictions. So now there's no contact sports allowed in their county. So now they're looking at options of finishing their season out in Arizona or in Texas.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned that Oakland would be a great spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's right down the street or across the bay or whatever they called it. And Oakland now is in Vegas. Shoot, I would even go to and be like, hey, Vegas, let me hit you up. They're in a dome.
Yeah.
It's not that far away.
Jay's got a couple questions for us already. We'll start with the first one. Montgomery or Edmonds?
I'm actually starting Edmonds in one of my league. I don't really know what Montgomery has been doing this year, but I like Edmonds.
So Edmonds is as being a backup even after Drake has come back. He's still averaging 10-plus fantasy points per game, which is really nice, especially for flex consideration.
Yeah, he's their third down and receiving back.
I will say, though, Moose, after talking to one of our league mates this past holiday weekend and looking into it, the Packers defense is near the bottom of allowing most fantasy points to opposing running backs. With that being said, if this was a better O-line or a better running back, I would consider Montgomery as an option to play.
Wait, the Bears have Montgomery?
Apparently still, yeah. David Montgomery.
Oh, man, I was thinking of – never mind. I am so sorry.
See, this is what Turkey does to you.
I am so sorry.
Do
you remember the Montgomery that played for the Packers?
The Ty Montgomery?
That was the wide receiver and then moved to running back? That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, my friend.
No. Start Edmonds.
Yeah, I would consider Edmonds as well because in desperation mode, you start Montgomery. But honestly, he's just coming off the concussion. This line is garbage. And even though the Packers are saying, try to beat me with the run, they already know the Bears can't run.
Yeah.
So, and they're really stacked when it comes to defending the pass. So,
yeah,
have fun, Bears.
The Packers are gonna try to make Trubisky beat them.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna try to make it.
All right, and Beasley, Slayton, or Chowder.
This one's actually tough.
And Beasley is kind of a nice little pick because John Brown is now on the IR for the next 3 weeks with a high ankle sprain.
Right, but the Giants are going up against the Bengals.
Right.
I'm sticking with the hot hand. I'm going to stick with the guy that I think has been the most consistent, and that's Beasley. Even when Beasley was the not the number 2, but the slot guy, he's been averaging against Arizona, he had 13 targets, 11 catches, 109 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then went into their bye, and now they're going to be against the Chargers.
I will say this, though, that the LA Chargers defense is, I had it written down here, they are just as bad as the Bills currently. So they're the 23rd ranked defense NFL-wise. And fantasy-wise, they're just as bad against the pass and the run. So I like Beasley for this game against the Chargers. This is a game that's going to be a shootout.
Yeah.
So out of the 3 here, I would not Chowder would be number 3, just because like this Miami secondary is really good.
Yes.
And you got Sam Darnold coming back from his injury again, may get re-injured, then Flacco comes in. It's all a mess, So definitely Beasley. And then ties in with your question, Jay, of Josh Allen or Kyler Murray. I'm still going to ride Murray on this one, even though like both guys are going to have great games.
Oh, yeah, that's tough.
Let's assuming that you
No,
never
I'm-
had a stack, right? You didn't have like the Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, or the Kyler Murray, DeAndre
No, I'm
Hopkins
going to
stack.
go with Josh Allen, but I'll talk more about that later on in the show
All right.
if that's planting anything.
No, Murray sat out a practice one day dealing with a bit of a shoulder pinch, but he's going to be good to go. Same thing with DeAndre. He's still dealing with
The ankle, right?
the ankle. It's the same thing,
Excuse me.
but they're still going to be good to go.
Yeah.
They've been practicing the rest of the week. It was just like the 1 day rest, so they'll be good.
Bridgewater's or Cousins, huh? Oh.
Now, this could be a very run-heavy game, Moose, because Adam Thielen's out with COVID as well. Now, Tajay Sharp has been activated. They're going to use BC Johnson in place of Adam Thielen, and then it's going to be a heavy dose of Justin Jefferson with probably a little sprinkle of Kyle Rudolph, as Irv Smith is also out this game. So
Yeah,
I still like Bridgewater.
I like Bridgewater here too,
because he has the more complement of weapons, and he's been consistent.
and he got that little break last week. You know, that kind of might have restarted his batteries or his juices.
Yeah. And then let's see here. Oh, I did get an update. No new positive tests for the Steelers. They are talking about going back to the facility tomorrow, along with I believe the Ravens are planning to go to the facility tomorrow, and then they're going to go from there. And let's see.
Kyle Murray, despite the AC joint sprain in his throwing shoulder, he is warming up and is taking first snaps before the Patriots game.
I mean, this NFC
it
West
doesn't-
division's so tough that you can't afford to be like, I'm going to rest another week.
Yeah,
You know, you can't risk a week where you're throwing the backup in there and you may potentially lose. And because the Seahawks, the Rams, I mean, hell, the Niners can knock you off, even though they're not playoff contenders, but they're a playoff killers at this point.
Oh, and updated as of an hour ago, Tua is officially out for today. The big tuna.
Yeah.
So start the beard.
So, yeah,
What an
he
amazing.
jammed his thumb during practice this week. They wanted to take precautions.
Now
with
they're
the
saying that it
franchise.
could be a multiple week injury. So maybe it got worse, or they
Maybe you're just waiting for the swelling to come down,
Right.
then take some MRIs and
Mhm.
just be done with that.
make sure that's not a ligament tear or something.
All right, boys. With that being said, let's get into some locked and loaded.
You gotta ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
That is right, all you punks and punkettes. Do you feel lucky this week with your picks? And as it stands, since we've been trying to pick an order of like who wants to go first, we'll just do random here. Who wants to jump in first? Since Elliot's not here, it's going to be down between me and you.
All right, I'm jumping in first
All right.
because I have a feeling Gary's going to be stealing my picks.
Oh, my goodness. Even if you steal the picks, we're
I'm
just gonna
here.
back off you.
All right, cool. I'm going first, and I'm starting with running backs.
All right.
My lock and loaded pick for this week is the Chubbs himself versus the Jags.
Man, that sounded dirty
The
right there.
Chubbs versus the Jags. I mean, if you were asking for a better matchup for any running back fantasy this week, Chubb against Jacksonville is, I think, the one you wanted the most.
Let's hope you're right, Moose.
The last 2 weeks, he's been averaging 100 and almost 115 yards, and he has one touchdown, and he goes against the Jags. I see another 100-yard game on 20 carries, maybe another touchdown. It's just going to be a field day for him. I mean, Mayfield's not playing up to par. Landry's their only receiving option. Hooper's off and on. I mean, they're going to go Chubb hunt all day.
Yeah. It's been very tough going, especially for Baker Mayfield to make things happen. Very inconsistent. So yeah, it's going to be a big, huge Chubb hunt day.
Mhm.
So, all right,
Okay. I could go next.
yeah, sure.
Josh Jacobs versus Atlanta. Atlanta's giving up between 15 to 20 points to running backs per game, and they're horrible. They got a new coach, essentially an interim coach. So, all the elements are there for either. I mean, yeah, they're there for an ass whooping. So, Las
Oh
Vegas.
yeah. No doubt. All right, and then for me, boys, it's going to be Giovanni Bernard. Listen,
okay.
Bernard's 4 starts during Mixon's time out. He has had 2 top 10 performances against shabby run defenses and 2 terrible outings against very stout run defenses, Steelers, Washington. This week, he faces a Giants defense that allowed the 9th most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Now that Burrows is done for the season, breaks my heart.
Burrows.
I've
That's
gotten
Chicago.
over it.
Got to add the S on there.
Yep. Burrows done for the season. The Bengals are going to have to rely on him even more because you're going to have Allen starting behind center, not Finley. So it's going to be slow going. Probably going to come up with some gimmick plays. It's probably going to hurt wide receivers such as A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. You know, this Giants defense is good in the secondary, surprisingly. But they do give up the run. So that's my choice for running back.
You know, just when I think you're going to pick somebody, you always you pick somebody else.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're right. That's how you do things. You won't. Yeah. All right, Moose.
Yes, I'm going again, and I'm going to steal this guy before anybody steals him again. Calvin Ridley.
You mother.
I knew it. See, I knew it.
Man, you and Elliot every week have got on
I
the
mean-
same page with somebody.
I mean, come on. Okay, so they're going against the Raiders, not the greatest secondary. But Julio's out today. Hurst is banged up. He might be out today.
Yeah.
Gurley's out today.
Yeah.
So
Brian
I mean,
Hill.
right? Where is he going to go? He's only going to go to the one guy that, even with all of these weapons in, he's still trusted.
Yeah.
You know, barely behind Julio. Why not Calvin Ridley? Why not? Screw it. 15 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown.
Can I be?
Let's just do it.
Can I be
Vegas-
get to that a little bit right
Yeah,
there?
be the Devil's
right.
advocate.
So nice little fun fact for you boys is that when Julio is not playing, Matt Ryan averages 9 fantasy points per game.
That's what I'm sitting his ass.
The Las Vegas gives up 24 points to wide receivers per game. So
They do.
you're gonna
So
have to,
you have an enigmatic stat where you got to find the outlier, and this you may prove right on this, Moose, where it's like, screw it, 15 receptions, over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, no, I'm actually sitting him this week, and I'm starting Rivers in one of my leagues. I mean, Matt Ryan has hurt me too much this season, and Rivers, I don't know what he's been doing, but with no wide receivers, he's making it work.
Yeah, you're playing over Man Rivers against me.
Yeah, man, fucking crush.
I know you're
Yeah.
still gonna crush me. Come on,
gonna nibble you to death.
right? Stop. You're killing me.
All right.
All right. What do you got,
Since-
Elliot?
Since my guy was tooken,
Chicken.
I'm going with Justin Jefferson. I mean,
boy.
he's the only receiver they have that's playing this week. So, you know,
Not
he'll
true. They
get
got
the.
BC Johnson and Tajay Sharp.
Well, you know, Tajay Sharp can get some. Will get some of that. You know, that little leftover love. But yeah, Justin Jefferson really, you know, he leads all rookies in touchdowns, and I mean, like I said, he's the only target, the only viable target today at wide receiver. So between him and Dalvin Cook, I
Yep.
mean, you like that?
Yeah.
Do
I like
you?
that. I like that. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with the Ridley situation.
Yeah. And then for me, I'm going to go with Nelson Aguilar, boys. Last week, Aguilar had a season high 6 catches at that total for 88 yards. 88 yards wasn't his season high, but the catches were when a touchdown. Now, inconsistency with this is what is keeping him under the radar. But the Falcons do give up the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers, as well as the Raiders give up a lot of points to wide receivers. They are also one of the worst at minimizing big play opportunities to receivers such as Aguilar. And Aguilar is a big play receiver. So Carr has been targeting him a lot, been looking his way. It's going to be I think this is going to be a very fantasy-friendly game on both sides.
I got you, bro.
right?
You got you.
Yeah.
Jay asked a question: Hopkins, Diggs, or Ridley need wide receiver too? I mean, you could start anybody
Right.
of those guys.
Right.
Diggs is going up against the Chargers. Hopkins is going up against who Arizona's playing
Arizona's playing New England.
New England. And then we just talked about Ridley being the only wide receiver there. I mean, at this point, it's
Could you believe that in a world in week 12 with COVID that Hopkins does nothing this week and Diggs and Ridley's the ones that explode?
so who would you go with?
I'm just throwing it out there. I was like, what if
No,
scenario?
but he answered the question, so who are you picking?
No,
You got to choose. Like you can. I'm going with Diggs. I have Diggs in my lineup. I feel really happy. I'm just gonna segue because that's my starting quarterback. I'm going with Allen.
Hey,
Right.
Jay, just send us your list of players.
right? So Hopkins had one bad week, one good week, one bad week. So I feel it's going to be a good week. So give me Hopkins and Diggs because the Chargers do give up a lot of points.
Oh, he
Like
needs two wide receivers.
He needs two wide receivers. Like you said, I believe that Ridley could have a great game too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, anything could happen. Matt Ryan could
Yeah.
really shit the bed here, and everybody hurts.
Right.
It's happened before. The last time
I
Julio
know.
was out and you had Ridley and then you had player X wide receiver, nobody did anything.
Oh, bro, I know. Trust me.
Yeah, I know you know. So,
Trust me, I know.
all right.
Elliot, who do you got? Who are your two?
I'm gonna go with Hopkins and I'm gonna give Matt Ryan a chance today. I'll go with Ridley.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to go Diggs and Ridley, and that leads to my top quarterback for the week. I'm going with Josh Allen. I mean, they're going up against the Chargers, but I feel that this, Chargers, they're the fun team that if they win, you're happy, but if they lose, you're like, yeah, but they're learning, they're growing, look how fun they are. And I think this is another game where the Bills have to make a statement. The Bills need to win. They need to keep on pace. Like, Miami's right on their heels.
Yeah.
They're one game out of being in the division race, depending on if the NFL decides to move to 3 wild card games this
Which
year.
that could very well happen.
Which it could very well happen, but they still want to be in that hunt.
Yeah.
If not winning the division, at least stay in the hunt to be relevant. And this is an AFC game where they need to win.
Yeah.
So I think Allen comes out firing. I think Diggs does well, and Beasley and
Beazles.
the Beazles.
Yep.
That's my
No
new-
problem, Jay. We're here to help. That was a nice segue, by the way.
You like that?
I'm going with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray looks like he's making the next step in his evolution at quarterback. I know he's hurting a little bit, but they got the matchup against the sleeveless McGee and the New England Patriots.
Oh, jeez.
And I think whatever Kyler Murray's been doing, because he's been training with Mr. Unlimited, is really paying off for him. And he's a dual threat because he can run and he can pass.
Yep.
And New England, while they're one of the greatest teams in NFL history, suck this year. So, you know what I mean? Got to go with the matchup.
Very nice. Very nice. And boys, for me, that is correct. I'm going with Fitzmagic this week. He is back.
We just found out he was playing today.
In a tasty matchup against the Jets defense that has allowed the 5th highest fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Since Fitzy's last win back in week 6 against the Jets, Fitzmagic now sports an amazing 26.8 fantasy points per game. And it's not just Fitzpatrick who gets the boost for your fantasy team. Here's a good example. Devontae Parker. When Fitzpatrick was throwing the ball, he averaged 18 fantasy points per game. When the tuna came in, he dropped down to 8.9.
That's right.
Don't expect this to be a long term, even though they pulled Tua last week against Denver. And now, because you did say maybe multiple weeks, but if it's not,
Right.
he will be back the following week. This is more of a week-to-week kind of like loner. But if you need that win, If you want it, this is how fantasy owners play smart. You got a great matchup here against the Jets defense that is horrible. The same reason why you're still holding on to the Dolphins defense, that you're not still streaming somebody, trying to find a better matchup. This is the best matchup right now.
I like it.
I love it.
I like it. I had a hard time. I'm very excited.
Wow,
It
Jay's
shows.
going with Daniel Jones. That was going to be my backup.
Oh.
If you guys would have took Fitzpatrick, I was going to talk about Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes.
We were not taking Fitzpatrick.
No, I was going to take Fitzpatrick. I worked very hard in like 2 leagues to get Fitzpatrick. One of the leagues, my quarterback was Foles. All right, I had nobody else, so I wound up with that Brandon Allen dude from the Bengals, and some idiot dropped Fitzpatrick, and I was like, monitoring. I got him. He got the start today. I'm going up against the Jets with Fitzpatrick.
Nice. Savvy play.
I know.
All right, we're going to be rounding out with tight ends, aren't we,
This
boys?
was so tough.
This was
week.
tough this week.
None of the tight end matchups. There was like 2 of them that I was very excited to go with. And so I'm going with Jimmy Graham versus the Packers.
Nice.
I kind of feel that Trubisky might get the happy feet, and he might be like, "Let me do quick dump offs." And who better off to dump it off to than big old Jimmy Graham?
Mhm.
5 yards a pop, I'll take it all day if we keep that chains moving.
If he needs to have eyes for somebody, that's a big dude to have
Yeah.
eyes for. I mean,
Realistically, I really feel the Packers are going to shut down the run game and double cover Robinson and be like, "All right, Trubisky, what are you going to do?" And
I like that.
I hope that Jimmy Graham, I hope he plays dividends tonight.
I like it. But let's hope it's true because the Packers are tough against tight ends. But I like the fact that you got to find somebody.
Yeah.
So let's hope that he's taking his time being on the bench, learning more. You gain a little bit. You maybe knock that chip off you had your shoulder. You get that sense that the noose isn't around your neck anymore, or you're going to get yanked for anything. Like, this is all we have left. So
Yeah, let's see.
fly, little birdie, fly.
Let's hope.
Put that good film out there so the next team could pick you up.
Boom.
Right? Belichick.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. And then he turns him into a decent player. I mean, he's a decent player now. He's just
Tonight's
he's
not Brady, it's
yeah. I don't know.
5
Trubisky.
balls.
Crazy. All right. What do you got, Elliot?
I'm going to my good old dependable, since I couldn't really look at the list of tight ends. Gronk.
All right.
So I'm just gonna ride the Gronk until he breaks again, and then goes back to the WWE.
Yeah. And his cruise ship.
Or he takes one more championship, then he's going to be like, all right, I'm bouncing. Maybe I'll do Dancing in the Stars. Or
But
Dancing in the Stars.
they're playing KC today, right?
They're playing
So, yeah.
in Tampa
I
Bay.
mean, I always say that the only way to beat KC is if you outscore KC. So, I mean, like, Gronk has to.
They're playing in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Gronk has to show up today
Yeah.
for Tom Brady.
Well, I mean, Gronk has been there all year. It's which Brady are we going to get? Are we going to get
Right.
fifth down Brady, or are we going to get Brady versus the Saints?
No, I think after the past couple of performances with Brady, I think you're going to get that, like,
The average Brady.
yeah, the average to above average Brady.
So,
Like, listen, Antonio Brown's starting to get more targets, more catches. Chris Godwin, it looks like he's 100% healthy now. Mike Evans is definitely his go-to
zone,
guy.
yeah.
It's his end zone guy, but he's still not, obviously, like you called him, Moose, he's not going to throw the deep ball.
Mhm.
It's still going to be short. It's still going to be quick route.
intermediate, 25, 30 yards most.
So, yeah,
And that's
definitely.
where
could be the-
Gronk comes in. They're gonna use Gronk. They might use Gronk like Rivers today. They might just nibble him to death.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
could be
like 10, 15 yard outs all day.
Could be a battle of
So-
tight ends between Kelsey and Gronk. Who knows? All right, and for me, I'm going to finish it up with Hunter Henry. So a few weeks ago, I said I couldn't trust Henry until he showed me back-to-back productive games. Now that has happened, sort of. All right, so the targets and receptions have been the most consistent all season. It's been a lack of touchdowns and short yards after catch that have kind of hindered Henry this year. I expect that to change against the Bills defense that have given up the 6th most fantasy points to tight ends. Eckler is back. Herbert has a solid complement of weapons, but this is all the makings of a shootout as both offenses are stacked and both defenses struggle very much week to week. And Bills struggle a lot against tight ends. So, yeah.
I literally just picked him up like a minute and a half ago.
Hunter Henry?
Yeah.
Good for you, Elliot.
From my other league. I had no choice. I had Mark Andrews. So and it's
I would have had him already in another league of mine, but someone has a dumb waiver priority. Waivers like kickers are useless.
Yeah, I like the tight end.
How hard of a league would that be if every move was waiver priority? No free agency.
That's why auction, man. I like the auction. You have X amount of money, you spend all your money, you can't pick nobody up. That's your fault.
Yeah.
No waivers, no nothing. You just place a bet on a guy.
All right, and we got a couple minutes left, boys, before we wrap things up. Let's do a little Bears talk.
Oh, before we do Bears talk, just in case the Steelers-Ravens game doesn't happen for a deep dish, choose between Tennessee and the Colts.
I picked Tennessee last time.
That face says it all.
I picked Tennessee last time, and the Colts broke my heart. I'm going to go back to Tennessee. All right.
Elliot.
I want to see what you're going to do, Moose.
He wants to ride your coattails.
Dude, I'm going with the Colts. I'm going with the Colts,
know.
baby.
Yeah, I kind of figured you were. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah,
I don't know why. Just like they have their number.
Like
they don't
do.
really struggle against Tennessee. It's like they know what they want to do and they execute it. And then like Rivers is like, "Hey, I'm gonna show up today."
Well, yeah. Well, you know what it is that they have one of the strongest run defenses in the league, and even though Derrick Henry may get his yards, it probably not going to be enough.
Yeah, I mean he could get 100 yards rushing, but if they're not scoring those TDs, and I mean the Colts' secondary is very stingy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to try to get pressure on Tannehill, and then, it's just going to be like it's going to A.J. Brown.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy game, but I feel like it because now they've gone through the first meeting and they look at more of the tape and everything, then they scheme better, then maybe they'd be able to find a way to find the chink in that armor, that defense.
And then they just played them, maybe a month ago?
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 weeks, I think, even.
Yeah, no, and they lost. They lost. They got their asses.
I'm just doing this just in case the Steelers-Ravens game doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But if it's still on, me and you picked the Ravens and Elliot picked the Steelers.
Correct.
So
yeah.
Although it's not looking so good now, Moose, with RG3.
I have faith. Don't worry.
The Gus.
Don't worry. I have faith.
I totally forgot he was over there.
Yeah. All right.
Well, Elliot needs to choose.
I'm going with Indy.
Woo!
You guys kept cutting me off, and I
know. I was like,
then the RG3 thing kind of like threw me. I got lost after that.
Dude, it's going to be Boykin. It's going to be RG3 and Gus Bus. Oh, and Boyle. That's the big four heading in for the Ravens.
Oh my goodness!
All right.
All right.
Bears Packers.
Final score.
Oh, Packers like 100 to 3. No, it's going to be I'm going to say Packers 24-10.
All right,
maybe
Elliot.
13.
Oddly enough, Mitch does decent. He's pretty decent against the Packers. He's not his wins. He doesn't have a good win percentage against them, but he's had good individual games against them, and normally it's the fact that it's Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I'm gonna have to go against my gut, and the game is probably gonna be 27-17 Green Bay.
So, again, the same narrative from last year is the same for this year. Is that the Bears are only averaging 17 points per game, and that's taken in the fact that if you look back at the Atlanta game, they scored more. Otherwise, this be 14 points or less scored every week from the Bears. The defense is going to hold off for as long as they can. But in the end, I say 21-13.
I'm with you, Jay.
Heck.
Unfortunately,
Bears beat the Bears.
Yeah, just like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna say about
No.
Elliott. Like, we want the Bears to win. Like,
Well.
we're here for the Bears, but realistically,
Yeah.
I mean, what?
We're going to be screaming for Mac to murder
I
Rodgers all
was
day
just
long.
about
but-
to say that. Like, Khalil Mack has to have the same impact this game he did the first time he ever played Green Bay.
Right.
And if that happens, yeah, the Bears will rout. But
Like, I remember 2 weeks ago, or was it last week? We talked about should the Bears start tanking or they have the winning record. If they move to 3 playoff game teams, if you could get a wild card with the Bears, I mean, I kind of want the Bears. Like, I hope the Bears win. That would be beautiful. But like,
that'd be awesome. That'd make my weekend.
Right. It'd be great. But deep down inside,
yeah, I mean,
realistically, like you're looking at the team, you're like, we can't even perform at an above average level to compete.
Yeah.
So
They're going to only be out one starter on their offensive line. But still, their offensive line wasn't the best to begin with.
Mhm.
So,
yeah.
I
and
mean, yeah,
I mean,
if they lose this game, then they're definitely out of the playoff hunt. And not only that, you would have lost to 2 division opponents in a row, and Detroit's probably not going to be a gimme anymore either, with them firing their coach.
So this season, we've already seen 2 coaches and 2 GMs get fired. Who do you think now will be the third coach GM to be fired? Actually, no, now we have 3. We've had 3 GM coaches get fired. The first was Bill O'Brien, who was a GM/coach.
yeah.
Then it was the Atlanta head coach and their
Did
GM.
they released the GM, or was it just the head coach?
that was both.
That was
Okay.
both. The owner's still there. The owner ain't doing nothing.
Right.
And
Well, of course,
now it was Matt Patricia and their GM.
Yeah.
Who do you think
what's-
is fourth?
You know
Does
what they
Jace
have in
finally
common?
get the axe?
You know what those 2 teams have in common?
What's that?
They played the Bears and lost to the Bears.
Oh.
Mm.
So
It's got to be Gase,
take
though.
that for what it's worth.
You don't think it's going to
It's
happen?
got to be Case.
Well, I mean, we can't say it's going to be Nagy because it's not going to happen.
No,
It's not going to be Gase either. Why wouldn't they have already released Gase? What? You're 0-11. We're going to give you one more shot.
Watch, if they win a game, they're
So-
cutting Gase.
No, man.
They're gonna-
The owners came out saying that they're not releasing Gase, that they're really happy with Gase.
It's a good question, Jay.
McCarthy.
I think McCarthy. I think it's going to be a one and done with Dallas.
He's definitely one and done. It won't happen this season, but at the end of the season, Jerry Jones is firing him like right off the bat.
You know, it's like that whole NFC East could be gone.
Not the Giants, not their new
Sherman.
Not Philly either.
their second year head coach, and then they have Garrett as the offensive coordinator.
Mhm.
Listen, if the head coach gets axed, they're just going to promote Garrett straight
Yeah.
from there. And Garrett's not bad as an offensive coordinator. I mean, he had his moments as a head coach, but they weren't great.
Yeah, but what are you looking at? Are you looking at record, or are you looking at like?
I'm looking at what impact, right? I mean, coaches win, they win, right? But they win because they have good teams, because they've coached them well, you know? So,
So are you looking then? A first-year head coach should be axed.
no, you can't just axe it
So
first.
why would
We're not
they-
the Browns here.
Well, no.
We're not the Browns.
Just said McCarthy.
I was just going to say, in
Browns
the
was
case
the
of
only
McCarthy,
one
yes,
to do
he's
that.
not a first-year head coach.
Yeah,
He's the first. It's his first year in Dallas, but he's not
Right.
a first-year head coach.
right.
McCarthy can kick rocks right now, in my opinion.
Equal pound sand for all I care.
Like,
I don't know.
I'll drive him to the airport, and I got to drive to Dallas first.
All right, so we'll see what happens after this week. But I want to thank everybody for watching us, for listening to us, for all the support that we have been getting so far. Guys, remember that if you want to talk to us, email us at the show, when you see a fantasy at Gmail. If you want to be part of the group, join the Facebook group page as well.
Oh, yeah.
We got plenty of people who joined already.
Sunday, man.
Yeah, Sunday
Football's back.
football's back.
Well, Bears football's back.
Yeah.
Football's always been.
It's always been from all of us here at Windy City Fantasy, myself, Moose, and Elliot. Stay frosty, Chicago.
Have a good Sunday, everybody.
Bears.
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 Polish sausage.